Hello and welcome to the Punished for Protecting Live broadcast with your host, Francesca Amato, national expert in the Americans with Disabilities Act, domestic violence and child abuse advocate, best-selling author, and founder of Punished for Protecting Incorporated. We welcome all of our viewers watching on Facebook via Punished for Protecting News and the CPS News Network. If you're watching on YouTube at Punish No More and Free to Protect, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon. You can also find Punish for Protecting News on Rumble. Now, without further ado, here is your host, Francesca Amato.
Welcome to this live broadcast today. We are exposing and we want to disbar and arrest Judge Esther Morganstern. Yes, that's Judge Esther Morganstern of Kings County Family Court in Brooklyn, a court where when I have a client there, I get inside and I am there virtually for my client or physically for my client with any other judge but Judge Morganstern. And today you will hear from that victim as well as other victims live on the scene today.
Yeah, they can't give me a
little bit noisy. Little noisy, guys.
But I can't hear you, Francesca. Huh?
Stand around and show us what's going on out there.
Who is this?
Hold on, sir. Anna, you know how to do this thing?
No.
I can't hear nothing.
What are you
trying to do?
Speaker
or
or
something. We hear you
something.
guys loud and clear. You're live on the air. You're live on the air.
The microphone.
Yeah, you can turn to the microphone and tell us what's
You
going
cannot
on
hear?
there right now.
No.
Do you want to unplug this one?
Yeah.
We cannot hear you, Francesca. We cannot hear you.
We cannot hear you.
Should you?
Okay, they're saying that they cannot hear me. We obviously can hear them. So let me try to get them. Let me just, excuse me one moment while I try to get them back as they're live on the scene at Kings County Family Court. We hear you fine. I'm going to bring you back out again. And I'd like to start interviewing you guys and telling us what you are, what's happening. What's happening there? Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I'm like saying to myself, isn't this illegal? And it's not.
For them,
Not
yes,
illegal.
law doesn't work. Law doesn't work for terrorists. They can do whatever. They violate numerous laws.
Yeah, it
There's
doesn't
no
make
law.
I've done so many parenting classes.
Okay, available.
I've done counseling.
That's what the money comes from the parenting classes.
I do. Yeah.
That's what they make money. Every time you make a class, they make like $300-400.
Well, I'm not. They won't give me a. I don't even have a. There is no. You know how they give you a list of stuff to do? It's a case plan. There's no case plan because there is no. Oh my God! The idiots. Somebody called. Somebody called. After they called, they had to do.
Judge Morganstern is a child abuser. Prosecute Judge Morganstern. Judge Morganstern is a child abuser. Keep your kids away from Judge Morganstern. Stop child abusing. How is it possible?
You are live at we are exposing Judge Morganstern and
Judge Morganstern, my friend. You know Judge Morganstern? Keep your kids away from Judge Morganstern. Be careful from Judge Morganstern. Keep your kids away from Judge Morganstern. Help child abuse.
no case. He blew out the investigation. The lady that was supposed to come, instead of
Do an investigation.
the one that didn't come, right?
Yeah, you got bystanders.
Huh? Wait, Francesca said.
I said, what are you doing
Okay.
here? I said, you were supposed to come. You can't just do this.
How I tell you, sir?
Right here, behind you.
Who? No, he's a tourist.
They came out.
Really? Okay, let's stay over here. Anna, we ready? So, stop a parent alienation. This is Anna Regal. What would you like to say, Anna?
Hi. Unfortunately, it's very sad that we are here. We have to fight for our rights to see our children. It's very sad day, but we are all together.
Love you, Olivia. Use my daughter's name. I haven't seen her in 2 years. Love you, Olivia.
This is Mike. He hasn't seen his daughter in 2 years.
2 years.
His daughter Olivia. Anna, she hasn't seen her two daughter in how long?
I just started seeing them in another state.
Okay. But under Judge Morganstern, you haven't seen her for how long?
While Judge Morganstern was on my case, I wouldn't see my children for 6 months at a time.
Oh my God.
Judge allowed father to violate my legal bi-weekly overnight visits. And it's terrible. And when you file violation with the court, your case is being dismissed. The judge allowed father to relocate children to another state.
So your kids have been relocated in another state with the consent of Judge Morganstern?
Without consent.
Without the consent. And the Judge Morganstern didn't do nothing about it to bring her back to New York?
Nothing.
She didn't do nothing because that's her convenience. I see. Okay. What would you like to say? What's your name?
My name is Lauren Morris.
Lauren Morris. How long haven't seen your daughter?
I haven't seen actually all four of my kids.
Four of your kids, okay?
My oldest, Lorena, is 9. I have a 6-year-old, a 5-year-old, and a 3-year-old.
A 6-year-old, a 5 years old,
And a 3-year-old.
and a 3-year-old. They've all been taken away from her.
The 3-year-old, Hannah, is the only one that I am sometimes able to see because she's with somebody that I don't want her to be with. But the judge, they took away 3 of my kids.
That's horrible. That's horrible.
Years.
I see. Wow, that's horrible. These judges, they have no respect for what's in the best interest of the kids.
Yes.
This is
Okay.
Mike. Mike, would you like to leave a message for your kids?
Yes, Olivia. I'll see you soon. Hopefully by your birthday. I love you. I miss you every day. And I hope you are having fun at school. And I know that I love you and safe. And Daddy loves you.
Mike is gonna see her daughter soon. He hasn't seen her daughter for 2 years.
I've been trying for visitation in Morganstern's court since February of 2020 to get back into court. I've been in this corrupt court for 5 years.
Wow.
And I had a relationship with Judge Morganstern in 2009 prior to this court. In 2018, I worked for her in a house, and she was abusive then. When she resided in a house, a townhouse in Park Slope. I have evidence of the job. I have witnesses of the job, workers and neighbors. And I helped work at a house in Manhattan Beach to help with a sale of a house. Judge Morganstern had her own abusive divorce, and she tries to make everybody's divorce as crazy as hers. She's a child abuser. She's an extortionist. She says things deliberately and decisively to make one side look bad over the other. She is a terrible person, and Olivia, your daddy loves you, and when I get you and I see you again, I'll never let someone like this take you away from me again. I love you, Olivia.
Hi, Olivia. I know your dad is a good man. I see his house. He has the place ready for you. and soon you guys have been reunited. Mike is one of the person who's more involved than anybody in here because he's in direct conflict of interest with Judge Morganstern because he has to work in her house in Manhattan Beach.
She owed me money from it too.
And she still owe him money. There was an incident the morning that he showed up to work.
And backed down in the beginning and she extorted me for anything I had.
There you go.
Any type of businessman I want.
And when for some magical coincidence, Mike showed up in front of Judge Morganstern. After many years, Judge Morganstern stated that she didn't recognize him. And obviously it's a lie because he knows her address, he knows where she lives, she knows everything.
In my case, she made non-judicial comments throughout the case. She made non-judicial comments with me pertaining it. She lied behind the door. She lied to attorneys. My last court-appointed attorney said she lied so much in that back room that her last comment was she never interacted with the workers from my company. Because at the time I was a partner with my father since the day I left school, but she assumed I was a worker. She tried to cover it up as far as she can, and now they try to lock me up on a constantly.
All right.
Aggravating. They take my child from me. It's not right, you know. When two people argue, especially parents with children, and we come to a place like this, they should put the child first and not with your bank account or your money or your job. I lost work because I'm trying to see my child.
We lost work, everybody.
It causes PTSD in us parents immediately, the way they alienate us. It is terrible practice. They should put us with our kids as soon as possible. And if we make a mistake and violate a temporary restraining order, it shouldn't be on the kids. It should be on the parents, not the kids being suffered from it.
The punishment should be between the parents and whatever act they did. No interfering with child visitation. Interfering with child visitation, it's a spiteful punishment that only Judge Morganstern and a few other judges are still considering as a technique to inflict pain. Anna, what would you like to say about Francesca Amato? I heard that she has helped you.
Francesca Amato is a great advocate. I've been working with her, and she was able to turn my case around. I was actually, I'm happy that I have a different judge right now.
It's fair to say that she helped you reinstate your visitation with your kids?
She helped me to legally transfer jurisdiction. That New York court wouldn't transfer. My children were relocated to Pennsylvania without New York's approval.
Right.
And Francesca Amato involved in my case, and she was able to...
Judge Morganstern is a child abuser.
Of jurisdiction to the
prosecute Judge Morganstern.
And Judge.
This is Jay. Jay, would you like to say something about your kids? You haven't seen your kids in a while, right?
The kids should speak up, say what they want. Every kid deserves both parents.
My daughter has a voice.
Every kid deserves both parents.
Where's Daddy?
Every kid has a voice.
My ex-example was held 200 full activities every time on this violation.
Hi, Francesca. My name is Giuseppe Lubrano. My daughter has been taken away as well from Judge Morganstern. It's been 7 months. I haven't seen my daughter. Last time I saw her, she lost the ability to speak to me. For whatever reason, she's been alienated from my wife, my ex-wife, I should say. My ex-wife, she threatened me of kidnapping my daughter, and yet she went to do an illegal passport application, which Judge Morganstern knows everything about it. And Judge Morganstern hasn't taken the child away from the abuser who attempted to kidnapping the child. I'm out here with Francesca Amato and every other parent. They're right behind me, support to the cause. Judge Morganstern is the child abuser and she needs to be stopped. Many more judges in this court are doing the same thing because it's convenient for them. They're taking the kids away, they put them into foster homes, and they are pressing the parents to pay child support, to go to supervise the visits, to go to classes, to attend the parenting classes. This is all puts money into the court system for referral, cash for kids. Judge Morganstern is one of the last that's still using this so-called way to treat the parents. Please help us spread the word. We're gonna be here next week, January 17, right here. We're gonna try to make this as strong as it's possible on a weekly basis, if not every day. We will change location, go to different court, Manhattan Court, Whitehall Building, and everyone else. Everyone needs to know about this child abuse and parent alienation. It's only a few judges left. Please show your support, calm down, and let's take these judges off the benches. Anyone like to say anything else here? Justice for our children. I'm gonna close by saying I miss my daughter Alex. I can't wait to see you. We have such a beautiful bonding together. I know I was your primary parents. I'm so sorry, baby, this is happening to you. Unfortunately, your mom had an emotional breakdown, and the judges is on her side because that is the way how they extortion money from the alienated parents. Alex, forgive me. I didn't mean to put you in the situation. Your mom is the one who's doing this. I'm so sorry, baby. I'm so sorry. I'll see you soon. This is Anna.
Mommy loves you. Lorena, Elijah.
What's the kid's name?
Lorena, Elijah, and they're already with another family.
They're with another family? Okay, yeah. We hope you're gonna get her back soon then.
Yeah. I hope I'm gonna get Hannah back too. She's only 3.
Only 3? Oh my God.
Yeah.
I can't imagine how she feels alone without the mother.
Yeah. I'm gonna try to file a motion. These people literally kidnapped Hannah. They kidnapped Hannah. It wasn't they, it was one woman. She got mad because she couldn't take me down, and she got a Lyft driver and tried to get me in the car. But yes, these judges need to be stopped. We need to make it, America needs to make it heard so that we can get our children back. ACS is ruining children. It's wrong. They're coming up with depression, sadness. My whole life has changed. I'm sad all the time. I have no motivation to do anything but be with my children.
Financial loss, emotional, psychological.
I mean,
non-abusive parents should be able to be with their child.
Yes.
And non-abusive parents should be able to see your kids.
No one should tell me when or how I should see my child.
No.
I am the father, she is the mother, everybody should see the kids.
Yeah.
That's it.
Unless you're really hurting your child.
You're abusive, then
that's different.
I say unless you are detained.
No, if you're abusive, towards your child, you shouldn't see your child. A good parent has no reason not to see their child.
They're not even
exactly.
giving people chances.
Exactly.
Show them.
Exactly. Yes. And this is all.
Money. They want nothing else.
All judges like Judge Morganstern. It needs to be disbarred so that we can give an example to the community and other court system. So we can give an example for other courts stop child abusing, disbar and prosecute Judge Morganstern, S. Morganstern. Did you put that thing on Citizen's Apple?
I can't get.
It's just horrible. We are going to be back live with the protest that's been they've been starting to form more and more people. There are other families that are right now inside the court. A client, now I've been in that court before, like I said, as an ADA advocate, they cannot deny me. I'm no different than a wheelchair or a seeing eye dog. And yet Judge Morganstern does not want me in with one of the clients that I have this morning. As you heard from Anna Regali, she was a client of mine, and she was tortured by Judge Morganstern. She was tortured by her for many years, and she would not let her. She just wanted to keep her in her court, even though the father that gained full custody as an abuser refused to. Children were not able to see their mother for no reason whatsoever. A beautiful, wonderful human being, and Judge Morganstern just wanted to hang on to the case, even though he lived in Pennsylvania and she lived in New Jersey. I got involved. I reported. I did different things that I'm not going to say here. And Judge Morganstern was taken off the case, thank God. And Anna was able to move to the Pennsylvania court, and that's where they are now, where then she was able to have access to only one of her daughters. Unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable and disgusting. We're going to go to one of our commercial breaks right now, and we will be back with more of this story, this live protest to disbar and arrest Judge Esther Morganstern. I do not believe, as anybody that knows me knows, I do not believe in that there's any help for this system whatsoever. I honestly don't. 15 years of this, I know better that there is no help for this system. But we're going to go to a commercial break, and we will be back live at Kings County, Brooklyn, New York.
We'll be right back after a message from Punished for Protecting Incorporated. Each new generation of protective mothers is shocked when they first go to family court and find it doesn't favor single mothers and is willing to jeopardize children. Francesca's harrowing experience with the broken family court system, from which she finally received justice after 8 months of struggle, is proof that there is light at the end of the tunnel. Francesca has one of these unspeakably cruel cases and has responded by shining a large spotlight on widespread failures so other mothers won't be shocked. Punished for Protecting the Injustice System of Family Court by Francesca Amato Banfield, advocate, mother, whistleblower, founder, and TV talk show host of Punished for Protecting. If you are struggling with injustices wrought by our courts, this book will help guide you through the process. Available on Amazon.com. Search Punished for Protecting and get your copy today. Help abolish family court by purchasing Punished for Protecting merchandise. Here are our top sellers. See the link in the YouTube video description to find out how to get your Punished for Protecting t-shirt. Get your high-quality Punished for Protecting t-shirt while supplies last, and let everyone know that you stand for justice. Are you being re-victimized by the family court system? Do you need help with your case? Go online and book a talk with Francesca. Go to punished4beingAparent.com/book-a-talk. Fill in your name, email address, and message to Francesca. Someone will get back to you within 24 hours. Francesca and her staff of volunteers continue to work tirelessly every single day for parents and children who are in need of their help. There have been multiple success stories, including Francesca's, which gives hope to others in similar situations. Punished for Protecting Incorporated has incurred out-of-pocket expenses with zero funding to help families get their children back or to save their children from being taken. We also have provided funds to help with retainers, food, lodging, and travel. We really need your help so we can continue to provide our many services. Any amount is greatly appreciated. If you'd like to donate or sponsor a family in need of help, go to Cash App, Free the Children. And now back to our broadcast.
Are you?
Wow. So we have one more commercial we'd like to show you before we go back on the scene live at the Kings County Family Court in Brooklyn, New York, where we are exposing Judge Esther Morganstern. But right after this word from a sponsor of ours, here she is.
Are you tired of this sticker shock mattress and adjustable base prices at those big stores? I sure am, and I'm here to help. Hello, I'm Gara. I am owner here at Marietta Mattresses and More. So if you're local and in the West Virginia or Ohio area and wish to schedule a day with me and a time to come grab yourself a comfortable new mattress at a comfortable price, you can call me at the number below. And if you're not local and still wish to get a tremendous find on a new mattress, check out the website, sapphiresleep.com, and pick yourself out a perfect new mattress and adjustable base, whatever you want, then call me and I can have it shipped directly to you at no extra cost. Be sure that when you call, mention you saw this on here, Punished for Protecting, and you will then receive 50 to 80% off your entire purchase price. Yes, 50 to 80% off. So if you are ready to invest in a good night's rest without breaking that bank, give me a call.
So Gara is one of our sponsors, and just to let you guys know, if you go to sapphiresleep.com, you can order a mattress, an adjustable base, or anything that you need from that website. And if you mention Punished for Protecting, you can get anywhere between 50 to 80% off, because what she's doing is she's giving some of the proceeds to help families that cannot afford some of her phone number 304-483-7626. She's located in Marietta. It's at 134 B Grove Street, Marietta, Ohio. And if you're a local in the area there, Marietta, even parts of West Virginia, Parkersburg, Vienna, Williamstown, Belpre, Ohio, those local areas surrounding there, you can go right into the showroom there on 134B Grove Street and mention Punished for Protecting for imagine a 50 to 80% discount. It's pretty awesome. So I want to thank Gara for that. And we do have one more sponsor, which is Lyra Rugs. And I'm just going to show you here some beautiful rugs here. These are handmade by Marla Miller. Absolutely amazing Lyra Rugs. And here you can see some of the work that she does, which is really, really just absolutely beautiful. And Lyra Rugs, you would simply go to the link. I'm going to actually get this up here for you guys. lyrarugs.com. That's lyrarugs.com. I don't know what kind of a discount, but you can also mention that you saw it here on Punished for Protecting. She doesn't have a set discount, but likewise, you're doing a really good thing, because anybody that does need help, since we don't get grants, intentionally we don't get grants, we will not take government handouts. And we do over $270,000 worth of free work for clients per year. That we do. That doesn't include the clients that are able to pay, but that's what we do, and we do it out of myself, literally physical work without any finances whatsoever. So these sponsors are really a blessing to us, and we do appreciate them very much. So you can go to Lyra Rugs for a handmade rug and know that what you're doing is actually helping families. So it's a win-win for everybody, and you get a discount on top of it. So what more could you ask for? We're going to go back to the scene right now. Thank you, everyone. I do appreciate you guys. And I also appreciate you guys, your comments and your words, and also sharing this message so that others can see what's happening in this horrible, diabolical, and evil system. Whereby they're literally stealing children and just causing the worst harm ever, violating every right there is. So they're violating human rights. They're violating the Constitution. They're violating. These are your rights that they're violating. These are very important rights, and this is stuff that we should not take lightly in this country, right? So they're violating that, but on top of it, they're causing lifelong damage, which is lifelong disabilities, separating and severing families from one another within the borders of America, which is absolutely sick, through the family court system that they call a court, which is not a court. When there's no trial by jury of your peers, and your rights are automatically waived, a right that you have to waive on your own. When they start doing that, if you go in and you film a public place and they tell you can't be here, that you'll be arrested, that is a violation of rights. So your articles of human rights are being violated. Your Constitution is being violated. The rights to your children are being violated. They place children with the worst parent. They place children with the abuser. Their rights are being violated. Your rights are being violated, and extreme harm is being caused. And this judge, Judge Esther Morganstern, I mean, I've already had to deal with her before. Here's one that says, "Pay or I'll take your kids away." She's not kidding. As obviously they put together this huge banner there in Kings County, Brooklyn, New York, in which I've had great judges in there that honor the ADA, that I speak on behalf of my clients, even though I'm not an attorney. I have a separate and distinct role, but they are there today, and they are live, and they are planning on coming back, and they planning on doing this again next week. So let me just bring out my guests again, as they are here out on the street in Kings County, Brooklyn. I don't know if they can hear me now, but I am back. We're back live, guys. I don't know if you guys can hear me, but we are back live. Let me give you guys a solo layout. And I don't know if you guys, we can't even hear them right now for some reason, but here they have there's their Stop Child Abusing, Disbar and Arrest Judge Esther Morganstern. Judge Esther Morganstern. It's quiet there. I don't know. We can't hear them, but they're out there. And we also have others that are in the court with her as we speak, in a case where, hello, can you hear us? Can you hear us? Let me see if we can get you back on sound. You may be muted. Let's see. No, I don't know. I don't think you're muted, but let's get you unmuted and see what's going on there. But there they are out on the street at Kings County Family Court in Brooklyn, New York, and that's to expose Judge Esther Morganstern. And that's the same close-up of the banner that they have up: disbar and prosecute child abuser judges, which is something that I've been standing for a very long time. They should not have this free range, do whatever the heck they want, violate the rights of families, damage children for life, damage families for life. Dangle your children. One of the cases, the mother literally put this picture up on Facebook saying that there'd be a protest today, and she literally took her children away from her just because she put a picture claiming that there was a gag order on her. I went through all her custody orders. There was no gag order on her. But a gag order is 100% illegal. You cannot put a gag order, although judges are doing it all over the country. Okay, that is a constitutional violation, and that's what this judge does. If you don't do what she tells you, and you also heard the gentleman that said what he said earlier with regard to Judge Morganstern, and she still owes money herself, and she had a bad divorce, so she basically wants to make everybody else's life hell and havoc. And this is what she's doing. And these are not the only people that I've heard this from over the years. I've heard this from multiple other people whose harm. I know other families who she's literally ripped their children away from them. And I've been to their homes, and they're beautiful, beautiful homes. I could not get over, the destruction that these judges, and she's not the only one. As we know, she's not the only one. There's Judge McGinty of Ulster County Family Court that I had exposed numerous times. I wrote a book about him. As you guys know, I wrote the book, Punished for Protecting the Injustice System of Family Court. Likewise, I had him exposed in the New York Post article. I talked about him in front of the New York State Assembly. There's other judges in there in the Ulster County Family Court in New York that are violating the Americans with Disability Act, have no comprehension of it, answer to people that don't know what they're talking about either. We're looking at New York right now, but I do this nationwide. There have been excuse me, there have been judges, that have been doing this, repeatedly all over the country, like taking children through CPS or ACS, ask questions later kind of thing. It's just absolutely sick what's going on. It's absolutely sick what's been going on in this country. I know a lot of you have a lot to say about it. You guys, really, those of you that are viewers and have seen this stuff before, what's been going on in the family court CPS arena. It is one thing. It is not, they're not separate. It is one government entity that is completely out of touch with reality. Like I've said numerous times, it is the child trafficking industry. Now, I'm going to go ahead and show something that many of you have seen before because it is relative to what we're seeing here at this protest today. So this is where I spoke before the New York State Assembly, and I'm going to go ahead and play that video.
Francesca Amato, the founder of National Advocate, Punished for Protecting Incorporated.
First, I want to thank both of you, Assemblywomen Walker and Jaffe, for having this and for being so patient all these hours listening to all of these experts and professionals and families. My name is Francesca Amato. I am here on behalf of countless New York families that I personally advocate for, who requested I speak on their behalf. Is that a little too loud?
That's perfect.
Okay. My son and I have also been victimized by the family court. As a national advocate, we realize now that this is the actual gateway door to the epidemic of human trafficking in which we are finally seeing exposed. If I get under your skin today, I am not sorry, as we all must have a moral compass and obligation to end this nightmare. I vehemently oppose this merger. I would be thrilled to see the courts be completely abolished. I will tell you with firsthand knowledge that the statistics through Health and Human Services' own admittance why. Punished for Protecting Incorporated is a New York State registered nonprofit 501c4. We are helping families nationwide through raising awareness on our TV and news programs and helping families injured by family court and CPS abuses. Our national advocates are trained in ACE, Adverse Childhood Experiences, Saunders, Myers, social science research that shows the long-term effects to children and families from being separated. The truth about PASS, parental alienation syndrome, false allegations, Stockholm syndrome, wrongful separation of biological family, families who are re-victimized due to abuse. This affects all races, all social and economic backgrounds, all, not poor only. I love all people, but this affects every color and every social economic background. We have families devastated by court orders after they become traumatized and bankrupt. We educate Congress, legislators, and public servants through college lectures and raising awareness through social media and my own TV and news programs. This includes teaching our real rights versus what has been told to the people in violation of civil liberties and parental rights. Punish for Protecting Incorporated spearheads many events for social reform, education, and overall change. I am a national advocate with specialty in ADA, American Disability Act, accommodations and violations, as well as a two-time best-selling author of the book Punish for Protecting the Injustice System of Family Court, my true story of the abuse my son and I endured at the hands of Judge Anthony McGinty of Ulster County Family Court. Deception. Those who are deceived are the last to know it. There is a huge disconnect from the judges to the families, and advocates bridge the gap of communication. Through this lack of communication, families too many to number have suffered lifelong trauma. This affects our communities, our state, and our nation. The head director of the Children's Home in Poughkeepsie, New York, did a slideshow presentation on November 13th at an event sponsored by Senator Serino that I attended and spoke at. She spoke and showed the statistics from the Polaris report, showing that 86% of sex-trafficked children are through foster care and social services. That's almost 90%. In the slideshow, it also showed that these children run from group homes due to abuse. A recent report by LOHUD notes that New York ranks 5th in the nation for human trafficking, with sex trafficking making up the majority of those crimes. The same story quotes the director of this Hudson Valley Human Trafficking Program, who states clearly that human trafficking is occurring in every corner of every neighborhood in the Hudson Valley. Who is making these orders? Family court judges make these orders. We strongly feel that not only should the courts be abolished, but the family court judges should be arrested for treason under Title 18, Sections 241 and 242. It's all over the media, case after case of child murdered by foster parents, CPS workers falsifying records and even falsifying drug tests, and contracts with hospitals to medically kidnap children for requesting a second opinion. Why, you ask? Well, in 2009, according to a survey by the Leadership Council for Interpersonal Violence, over 58,000 children were given to abusers. If you wonder why there's such an opioid crisis, why, you ask? Well, in 2009, according to a survey by the Leadership Council for Interpersonal Violence, over 58,000 children were given to abusers. If you wonder why there's such an opioid crisis, how would you feel if your child, young adult, or elder ripped from your safe and loving biological families was placed in danger and then placed on psychotropic drugs to silence their emotions? We must wake up. We have a fatherless nation of good fathers who love and support their children because the family court keeps them away, and all the while giving unfettered access to abusive fathers and restraining good mothers, supervising good mothers for telling the truth about abuse. Some fathers have never met their own children but pay child support and live under false allegations while true abuse goes unchecked and victims are re-victimized. We now have where courts and CPS work together to separate loving families, mothers and fathers, with false allegations, which is a crime in every state, but goes ignored because it helps the narrative of stealing children and selling them into trafficking. A great fallacy is that an abductor comes into a Walmart and abducts a child. This is not true. They come from a court order rendered by a family court judge. This is why the child trafficking is being exposed at these unprecedented numbers, ripping families apart, placing children in danger, taking away a protective, loving parent, and keeping that parent from protecting their child causes all members of the family extreme trauma and PTSD. ADA violations are off the charts, and the courts are clueless about the accommodations for emotional disabilities that they caused by harming families at this level. As a national advocate, I court watch these judges all over our state and, yes, our nation. There is an appearance of a court with their evaluations, their bar members, their professionals. I have personally witnessed judges giving unfettered and full custody to abusers, never proceeding to the side of caution. Over and over, I have watched them harass and abuse protective parents when they report abuse. Many times, unlicensed medical bar members have stated that mother or father is coaching, and they remove that parent from the life of the child and place the child or children directly into the hands of the abuser. I have a full database of over 12 years of cases compiled with police reports, forensic medical reports that go ignored. 58,000 is not a clerical error. It's a direct, strategic, and sophisticated decision and the gateway door to child and family trafficking. The Hudson Valley, according to the human trafficking bill that Senator Serino is endorsing, is the highest concentration of trafficking in our state. I ask you again, who is making these orders? Only a family court judge can make these orders. CPS does not have this authority. But what makes these matters so much worse is this. Are you aware, and please look this up yourself, that according to Schwar versus Board of Examiners, there is no such thing as a licensed attorney in any state as per our Supreme Court. Assigned counsel and paid counsel is an interpreter of their law. The practice of law is a common right. If that is not bad enough, you will never find one place on the congressional record anywhere, state or federal, where the people voted in the family court or CPS. This is high treason. These errors of harming and endangering families to these outrageous amounts of missing children, exploited children, and trafficked children through this sophisticated multi-trillion-dollar industry must be abolished and the actors arrested at once. We can't fix this. We have to hold it accountable. A judicial system must be. They claim to be public, but everything is done privately. You can't be both. There is no accountability because there are no evidence-based practices. No evidence is taken onto a real record. Hearsay is taken as fact. There is no due process and no trial by jury of one's peers as our rights demand. These crimes against humanity must be held accountable. There is no place for any family to get help, as the appellate courts hardly overturn anything unless it has huge public attention. Judicial immunity is a get-out-of-jail-free card and the highest danger to public integrity and safety. These judges do anything they want, no matter how imprudent these decisions are and how dangerous to these families and children their decisions are. The harm they have caused our families, there is no amount of money that can ever pay them back. There is no way possible that these judges have gotten all these harmed families' cases right, that less than 2% get overturned. As far as I'm concerned, the courts have already merged by the unified court system and must be held accountable through abolishment and arrest. Thank you.
It does sound like you have had some very negative experiences and understanding of what has been going on in the courts. The trauma that the children face, have you noted that? Is there any response to that and under these circumstances that you have noted in that
So the
mention?
difference between me and then the people that you have seen up here, especially the ones that work for CPS, or Sheila Poole, who the late Assemblyman Frank Scartatos actually wrote her several letters with me, working with him before he passed away for years that went unanswered, just to let you know. I work with countless families all over the state and the country, so I get to personally experience what they're living, and I get to personally get to know them. And I don't do it in a haphazard way. I really get to know the family and the dynamic and the suffering that they go through and the trauma and the ripping apart. When they talk about due process, having an attorney next to you, that people don't want that. They don't care that an attorney just walked in the door with them 5 seconds before, whether they paid for them or not. They care that the attorney doesn't care about them and works for the system, no matter what. And the cost is their children, their lives, their livelihood, their jobs, their houses, everything they worked for, their entire bank account. Whether they're rich or poor, they lose everything because they want to save their families and their children, all because of a false allegation. And I get to see that every day. So that's why I speak for the families who didn't speak today. We heard what CPS wants to believe. We heard what CPS wants to tell people, the lies that they tell people. The judges, they're just in a box somewhere. They're not even in the reality of the real world, making and ordering and rendering decisions that families have to live by, ordered to live by, like some kind of slave in bondage. And it's not a way for any of us to live, especially in the 21st century. We should have got this right a long time ago. I've been speaking for a long time, and for me to have to be here today, I'm thankful and grateful for how far we've come, but this is disgusting that this goes on every day in our nation. I see mothers and fathers put in jail for doing nothing wrong, while real criminals are freed. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
In terms of, just last question, the potential solution to the obstacles that you have discussed.
Well, how can a broken system help broken families? The only solution that I see is abolishment and arrest according to our laws. So Title 18, Section 241 and 242 would hold them accountable for these treasonous actions. When the bar membership is not a licensed membership, like they've been telling the people, when they tell the people they're too dumb to interpret English, when you're standing before a judge, it's common sense and common law for everyone. So we're told that we have to have someone represent us, and they don't represent us because we're too foolish to know better. If I don't know the law, then how can I be held accountable for it? Everything is backwards, it's twisted, and it's wrong, and it's destroying the health and welfare of all of our nation inside our borders. There's no other answer than to abolish this system and arrest the judges. That's what the people want. We never voted it in, so it has no legal standing to touch any of us. It has no legal right to tell us what to do, how to live, what hoop to jump through, and then maybe you'll get your kids back. Or to dangle your children over you and tell you, you had Cheerios on the floor, we're going to take them, they're in danger, and we'll talk to you about it in a week from now. That's not due process. Having an attorney is not due process either. Having a system that's legitimate, having a real justice system, that would be the only way that it would be due process, and it hasn't been that for decades. There is no other answer. We need to take the axe to the root.
Okay, we're back, and we're going to be back live with our oh, it looks like I lost my guest. No, here he is. We're going to bring him back out. Let me get him back out here. Hold on a second. Okay, it seems like they have, I don't know what's going on there, that we can't see him just yet. So I'm just going to find out what's going on with him. But in the meantime, let me just talk a little bit about that, that you just watched. I did that at the end of 2019, and then COVID hit. So ironically, when COVID hit, I was unable to, the assembly was like basically shut down. And those two assembly women that were there, Walker and Jaffe's no longer with them any longer. Isn't that amazing? And there was an error that I had said. I said unlicensed medical. Meanwhile, what I meant was unlicensed bar member attorneys that are not licensed for in behalf of these courts. There's so much garbage going on in these courts, okay? But that was, just so you know, I'm doing this now over 15 years. And I do appreciate all your the things that you guys are saying. And I do agree with you. And thank you for that kind word, Ray. So the thing is that we've seen a lot of success. We've seen a lot of other things that are happening where children are suffering continuously, and that's the reason why we've got this live protest going on. I don't know. He must have some problems with his equipment right now, so we're not seeing them. They're just completely dark. So I'm just going to remove them from the stream, and hopefully he'll be able to come back. They're live at Kings County Court in Brooklyn, New York. The protest is against Judge Esther Morganstern. Now we know, guys, that there are judges all over this nation that have been doing diabolical and evil things to families all over the country. I've been privileged enough to be able to get like Judge McGinty and the New York Post and the Daily Freeman and all over the world, really. And then my best-selling book exposing this judge, exposing other judges, exposing attorneys, exposing child attorneys, exposing just exposing all of this that's been going on. And now we've been seeing a lot of children exposing themselves, which is really awesome to see. But they plan on going back again next week. So if you are in the area, Kings County, or you just want to look up Giuseppe Librano, you'll be able to see, you could join the protest. And I do highly encourage you guys to join these protests, show up. They're out there freezing right now because they love their children. You heard that one woman, she said that she can't even function right now. She can't even function. Oh, thank you so much. She can't even function. It's so sad, and I know the pain and suffering. I understand the pain and suffering. Here's Jody Newman here. You can see here down below. She said, until enough people are sick and tired of this child trafficking industry, it probably won't end for good. And I have to say, like, there's a momentum that's been blowing up all over too. And then there's others that just don't do anything. And I just feel like if others would just hop on and help, it would end quicker. I am seeing better results in courts for sure. Like I said, and I do believe that they're trying to replace certain judges with better judges. I have been seeing that. Tell them to list their judge on the child abuse registry. People list your abusive judges on it. It's not on my website, so I don't want to say that, but it's there is a child abuse registry for judges that you would probably be able to find on my Facebook page, where it says Francesca Amato. And yes, this is 100% right here. All the past children that have been destroyed. So what it does to families is it literally just like the one parent said, it causes post-traumatic stress disorder. It causes all kinds of problems. E-scores go up. It's just absolutely sick what they've been doing over decades. Okay. Now I want to clarify something, because there's a couple things that I am not for reform. I'm not. I was years ago, until I realized this is child trafficking. Why would I want to reform child trafficking? That's a counterproductive. That doesn't make any sense. Why would I want to do that? I want to abolish and arrest. That's the legal thing that we're to do under Title 18, 241 and 242. That is the legal thing to do. Thank you so much, Jody. There, she got the website for me. Let me get that up there. But so there's the website where you can on an earlier show, but you can do it there on this website, www.childabusejudges.com. childabusejudges.com. Okay, so guys, you definitely go there and go ahead, and you can. It's confidential. He'll ask you your name and stuff, but your name won't have to go on the, through. It's actually there. He's doing something through the FBI. And there's corruption, guys. Listen, I report to the Department of Justice all the time. There's corruption all over the place, just so you guys are aware. So we declare and decree this will stop in the name of Jesus. I am with you on that. I am with you on that. Ray said, I almost died from no sleep and fear they go and attack young mothers. So that's what I was just about to touch on. We talk about the fatherless home, but there's nothing worse than the motherless home. And that's what I support 100%. I am definitely for all good fathers, but the majority of what I see in the family court are abusive fathers and women trying to escape. And there's been like movie after movie after movie that has proved this. And they're true stories. And you can watch them on Lifetime and you can watch them on Netflix and you can see countless movies that have proven this. But I can prove this because I've done this for over 15 years and I have watched over and over what they're doing and what the narrative is and the false narrative. And it's even in the churches. It's literally in the churches. Okay. There's a diabolical amount of abuse against women and children. There were some really good fathers out there today. Of course, I support them as well, but there is no comparison, none. Okay. So, we really have to fight for the motherless home. That we can't have that happen. And that's what they do. And that's why they give children to the abuser all the time. They give children to the abuser to an abusive organization like Connors Residential Treatment Center up in Buffalo, New York, where they're abusing children and the police are up there are doing nothing. They're not doing investigations like they claim. They all cover it up. Children are being thrown downstairs. Children are being slammed against walls, and children are having the reason why children are having outbursts and why children are having these behavioral issues is because they're being ripped away from their loving families. Why should any child have to go from home to home to home to home to home to protect them from their home? It's all insane. It's all insane. Okay. So this is why, thank you, Anne. I called you today, by the way. This is why we do what we do it's just, there's so much involved in this. There's many multiple hats to wear. And that is what we do as Punished for Protecting. That is what we do. We wear multiple hats. So we, there's another one. We are praying Justina Valva, her 200 million. Her son was murdered by the abusive father, police officer. Okay. Out of Long Island, New York. And there they are. They're still having court as usual. It's like they still cover up as usual. Okay. It is just absolutely sick. But we have to give the most horrible news every day when we expose this stuff. We have to talk about the most traumatic things that are happening to families and children every day when we expose this stuff. We have to show you very sad stories every day when we expose this stuff, right? We have to, when we talk about this, it's not fun to listen to. It's not enjoyable. It's triggering. It's traumatizing just to hear it, even if you're not living it. And yet we have to do it. But we also, at the end of the day, want to always offer you, they've had attorneys, they've had free attorneys, they've had paid attorneys, they go into court and nothing came in. And I got rid of Judge Morganstern for her. Not an attorney could do that for her. I did it literally within two visits into the court there. Okay. Today, Judge Morganstern, they had to consider if I could come in today as the ADA advocate. I wrote back and I said, I'm sorry, I'm like a wheelchair or a seeing eye dog. The judge cannot grant or deny my access as an ADA advocate. They do not have that authority. So they think that they do, but they don't. Now, you know what? If you had a real court system, of course, there should be a reverential respect in the court and a decorum in the court. I have very high standards and very high ethics in the way I proceed in a court, and I respect the court in a whole. Not that I respect it because I disrespect it, but if I'm there and I see that a judge is behaving, I'm going to respect that decorum, if that makes sense. Okay. And I've had some really good judges in Virginia, believe it or not. And I had one in North Carolina. Okay. And I've had actually two in New York. Okay. Shocking. But overall, it's been a nightmare for over 15 years of me court watching across the entire nation. Okay. And the reason I'm saying this is because I do see some changes finally happening from the ongoing non-compliance complaints I've filed to the Department of Justice, and through educating families and teaching them how to fight for their legal rights. And it pisses off attorneys, I'm sure, because I know more than they do, or at least I don't hide the laws, and I'm not practicing law without a license. Okay, I am legally allowed, and I have more immunity than the judges and the attorneys under the federal codifications of the Americans with Disability Act as an advocate. Okay, so I help them with this. I guide them through that practice, but I'm not taking on the role of an attorney. Okay, so and what does that mean? Even don't practice law without a license. What does that mean? They have fooled you for decades. Just like they fooled you when they made this business, and people think, oh, it's a broken system. Honey, it was built this way. It was built this way. This is a multi-trillion, trillion dollar child trafficking industry. That's what it is. Trafficking. That's what it is. Okay. Jody, my son Landon has been moved at least 12 times in 3 years lawlessly, yet he is still in abusive Connors in Buffalo, New York. How is this possible? And we have to continue to fight for and pray for Jody, because we're still fighting for and praying for Jody and Landon. Landon should not be there. He should be with his family. There is no reason why he shouldn't. In that case, in there, I do have the story. Dr. Nathanson up there in Erie County, New York, and Judge Lavallo. Wink, wink, nod, nod. He diagnosed everybody in that area with delusional disorder. I've talked about this before. You guys know this around the country, that they diagnose you with things that they, first of all, are wrong. They do it because they're working for the system. It's really that serious. It really is happening. This is true. Okay. Shocking for people that don't know. And I'm surprised I still have to educate anybody on this, because I mean, the majority of people really do get it, but you do run into that person that doesn't know, or it's just too hard to, to realize that this is really happening. It's too hard for them to wrap their heads around it, that it's really happening, but it is really happening. And so what he did is he diagnosed them all with delusional disorder, and the judge did not allow in the actual experts to be on the stand. She refused them on the stand, and she did a lot of violations. But what I've noticed in the Albany area, Albany, New York, for example, and I'm not just talking about Buffalo and so on and so forth, but I would notice in the Albany area, what I seen in like the Brooklyn and that area is that they actually have some accountability. So they have some sense of intelligence. Up north more, I'm seeing where they give you a ADA coordinator that I have to like go to and say you're violating, and they don't even know an eighth of what I know. They don't even know what I know. They don't even have any clue about, so they're violating it, and they put somebody in place at a garage as the person to answer to before you go to speak to the mechanic about your car. Okay, so it's not just it's that we're dealing with corruption. We're dealing with a great deal of disrespect and a great deal of ignorance. Okay, that's what we're dealing with. And that's the overall ignorance of what I see throughout the country. I do see a lot of um, you know backwards courts all over the country, West Virginia, certain states, areas that they're really, really backwards. I seen a judge the other day in Pennsylvania, very, very like cocky. Apparently he's been horrible to the client. I got on the scene, and she said he was a pussycat that day. She couldn't believe the difference. But I can still see it in his thinking, in that, I don't know how to explain it, because it's not old school, because there's respect in old school, but if I was going to explain it, I would kind of say it's like that old school mentality, in a sense, where they think they're there like God, like they think they're sitting there like God. And you don't treat families like that. Okay. This is not the way you treat families. Okay. They're not there because they're criminals. Okay. And let's face it, when CPS comes along and accuses you of abuse, now, when they accuse you of abuse, why are these people not all being arrested for abusing their children then? If they were abusing their children, they would be arrested for it. And they're just taking their kids. Okay. And for years, these people are trying to get their kids back, but no crime was ever committed. But when a crime is committed against a child, when a crime is committed against a child, um, when a crime is committed against a child, they what do you call it? They do nothing, zero. Okay, hang on. I think my guests are able to come in. Let me just check real quick. Let me just tell them we can't see you at all. Black screen. All right, let's see. So maybe he could get out and come back. Get out and come back. It's very hard to do this produce this by myself like this. So hopefully he can get out and come back, because obviously he's asking how we're doing. And the problem that we're having is that we don't see you. Okay. So hopefully he'll come back, and you guys can see some more about what's been happening there in Kings County, Brooklyn, because today we have been exposing Judge Esther Morganstern, Kings County Court, Judge Esther Morganstern, client after client, family after family, and that's her right there. And she's just been doing horrible things to families, taking their children, trying to put gag orders on them, and so on and so forth. Really horrible. I also want to say, guys, it's interesting, because if this wasn't true to anybody that doesn't understand what's happening, if this wasn't true and this wasn't happening, why am I in such demand that I literally have a scheduler and several assistants helping me, okay? Very highly trained, and we cannot fit the amount of people in. I literally have a line, okay, for people to get in, to get help, okay, all over this country. And we make sure that we have a system that is so put together and refined that we are able to give them such tailored help, okay, and they get help after. And by the time I get these cases, they're so convoluted, they're so absolutely horrible, and yet we're able to turn them around by the grace of God. I give all glory to God. But why is it, if this wasn't true, if this isn't true, why is this happening then? And when I meet these people, we're not talking about drug addicts with heroin needles hanging out of their arms and they're abusive, or you have to see, you wouldn't even get over some of these amazing human beings that don't have their kids or have access to their children. Okay, this is everyone's problem. Everyone's problem. It's time to wake up, because if you're still sleeping and that alarm has been going off in your ear, you are part of the problem. I just have to say that. So unfortunately, we could add this to the stream all we want, but we have no picture, no sound. I don't know what he did with his camera there. So unfortunately, we don't know what's happening there at the event, at the live event. So I'm going to try to kick him from the studio, and maybe he'll see it and come back in, and hopefully that will help so we can see a little bit more of what's going on. But yeah, that's a good point. Like, why are these stories the same in this corruption? And they are a lot the same in a lot of these situations. I mean, I hear the same thing every day, through my consultations and so on and so forth. We do thorough intakes, and it's amazing. Unfortunately, we're not gonna be able to show the rest of this protest, and we are out of time. I do really appreciate all of you for watching Punish for Protecting News today. I do thank you guys very, very much. And I hope you have a really good day.